that line's got a lot of goals scored against them. Are you guys looking to find like a combination that maybe performs better? There's good players on the line. It just doesn't seem like it's all clicked yet.
Yeah, I think fourth lines, first of all, you want to establish, you could put a fourth line out against anybody, not be nervous. Like, you look at Florida last year, they were confident putting their fourth line, and that's what we're trying to create here. I think they've played better. I think they haven't been rewarded. I think holding on to puck possession is something that you always chase on a fourth line. Yeah, you want them to contribute offensively, but I think to me is establishing an identity where, whether we're sleeping in the first period, can they go out there and create some havoc on a forecheck to get not only our team, the crowd, everybody going. I think that's what you're looking for to crave on a fourth line.
We saw last night. After the game, I know you talked about Trevor's line change, and we saw him. We walked in the room last night. He was sitting at his stall for a little while. You could tell he was kind of bummed with how it all turned out.
Sure.
You've talked about how you wanted to see from him. Just a drive to win hockey games, right? You told us about the not social media clicks, win hockey games. How is that? Have you been impressed by that particularly part of him, his competitiveness and how much he wants to win, and how has he maybe shown you that?
You make a mistake, right? You made a mistake or whatever that, and then bouncing back. That's what being a pro is. That's what winning hockey is. That's what being a winning hockey player is. So, made a mistake. He's out in practice day, had a great practice day. Or taking accountability, which he did. So that's how I see. That's why I think he's strung good games together. Even when he might have a couple of turnovers or he's doing something that he'll come off the. I've heard it 6-7 times already. He'll come off and say, "Man, that's my man." Like he's accountable. Like he knows what we want, what he wants from himself. So that's half the battle when a player recognizes it's his fault. Some guys, I've coached some guys where they might make it's not my fault, but. Not Trevor. I think he wants to refine his game. He's always chasing his game, and a little bit of a mistake. Tip could have helped him. Tip didn't have to go as hard at the guy. Maybe backed off. I mean, and we just had a 3-on-3 presentation. Jay Verdi did a great presentation today on 3-on-3 and a teachable moment. We haven't had a time to. I think we did a video about a month ago on 3-on-3. You got to pick your poison, right? And I thought today was the perfect time to address the 3-on-3 strategy.
In your experience, he's talked about how walking into this dressing room, there's a good energy there, right? And obviously he's got some of his buddies there, and that helps.
Sure.
Can that help a guy on the ice? And have you had experience with that, where guys come in and they some of their friends are there and they feel comfortable in the room, and that ultimately helps them when they're on the ice?
Yeah, I think it does help a lot. I've been traded before going to a team where I knew 4 or 5 guys. It does help. But it also comes in, he's coming in with a good attitude too, and and I can see it. This team's a close team. They like each other. They want everybody to do well, so that helps too when you bring a new guy in.
With Bichkov, when you see players talking to him like Sean or Travis on the bench, how much when other players see that, they're watching to see that, not just the coach telling him you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, but rather they're kind of showing him what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a language barrier too. Poor guy. When somebody's talking, it's usually to correct a mistake, right? So it's hard sometimes. So I think when it comes from Coots, like we were just out there today, and I was with him on the board about something about, forget what it was. Coots came right over, and then right away, Meach was looking at Coots. I can tell that Meach really respects Coots. There's something there, so I think that's valuable. And Coots has got a good way of delivering a message. It was actually, he thought he should have supported Coots where he should have stayed in the slot before the goal. He shouldn't have took off, right? Which is fine, right? And I think that's important that those guys talk it out. And now he's, now I get it now. So it's good to have players that be almost like an extension of the coaching staff, especially when you have a language barrier.
Victoria, you mentioned today about it's important to be patient with him, that he's 20, he's from Russia. Do you ever find yourself reminding yourself, okay, this is a process with him?
Yeah, I think we got to understand where he played in Russia, and what was he taught. And from what I was told, it's do what you want out there. I think he knows now he's come into a situation where it's a team game. It's not an individual game. There's individual moments, but it's a team game, and it's always will be. And I think he's getting it. I mean, he's playing better every game. He looked like he had a really good practice day. Like it's the fastest I've seen him last game and this game, even in practice day. So, he's getting his legs. He's getting his stuff in the gym. I think they're doing a little skate with him now. It's part of the process, and we can't be scared of it.
With Emil, what do you need to see from him to have him be an everyday NHL player?
Yeah, I think he's chasing minutes, right? And he's trying to gain confidence from Todd. Todd's he goes with 4 a lot. And every game's been tight, so we got to get in a situation. When can we start getting? I think, what did he get? 13 minutes last game, something like that. Can he get 3 more minutes? Yeah, I think we got to try to find. Can he get more offensive draws? Maybe that's a way of getting more jobs. Can he be on a 3-on-3 situation? Those are the things that he's chasing consistently, and obviously something that Todd's looking at.
Do you like the puck movement with him? He's known to be a play driver, a puck mover. Have you been seeing that, or are you seeing enough of it? Maybe?
Well, I'm a wheel mentality breakout. We're not there yet, but he is one guy that can do that. The only thing he's got to be careful of, I've told him, he can skate himself into trouble. He's just got to. That's one thing he's got to understand before the trouble comes to make a play. But I haven't really seen that the last 3-4 games. I haven't seen him get in trouble. Last game a couple of times, but I think for the most part he's been pretty good.
There were some absences from practice today. Dvorak, York, and Drysdale.
Yeah.
Anything serious on any of this?
It's mostly maintenance. I think I was telling you. Drysdale a little bit of a bug. I was kind of proud of him. He played 25 minutes. He wasn't feeling the greatest. Yorkie's been playing a lot of minutes. A little banged up, and Devo, same thing. So it's maintenance. Try to use these 2 days off. Well, they get the day off, then tomorrow off. 48 hours for those guys are going to really help.
How much? Noah Juulsen's been his partner. He's been on that third pairing for the entire season, and he has a rotating cast of defensemen with him. How much do you like maybe the pairing specifically with Emil and Noah, because as a defenseman, maybe he allows him the space?
Yeah, I thought actually Noah and Brandon Hibbs, I thought it was one of his best games of the year. I think he played really well. But saying that, you can sometimes, and I've talked to Todd about that. You can rotate sometimes. Emil, he can go play with Sandy one shift, or to get him an extra few minutes, you could put him with Yorkie. Like you can sometimes go with 5. Sometimes that's something we should actually experiment. It's okay to play with a different partner, so we'll talk about that.